I've never watched Studio Ghibli films until this video. Haha. So come along with me for the ride of watching 6 Studio Ghibli films and we'll see what I think. Do I get the vibe? Do I not get the vibe? We'll find out. So I decided in this video to go with 6 very popular Studio Ghibli films. I basically went with, I think, 6 that I recognized the names of that were on Netflix. I may do this again if people liked this. So let me know if there's other Studio Ghibli films that you think that I should watch. Maybe I'll do another version where I do like your recommendations and I'll watch another 6. I don't know. So leave your recommendations in the comments for me. And without I don't know what the fuck, without do course, without do I don't know. Eh. Anyway, subscribe, like the video, and on we go. Excuse me whilst I suck on a Rennies because I think I'm just having super painful acid reflux. I have just finished watching my first Studio Ghibli film. My first impression is, what the fuck did I just watch? This just feels like a really high film to me, honestly. This film was made on drugs. I watched Spirited Away. It was recommended as my first one to watch because, well, one, it's really popular, but it has a mixture of like wholesome, heartwarming stuff and sort of more sad and not very nice things too. I didn't realise there were loads of Studio Ghibli films, so I don't know how many I'll include in this video. Basically, our main character and her parents get lost on their way to their new house. The parents get turned into pigs, and she is kind of forced to become kind of like a slave, because it's like I don't believe these people are actually paid people, quotation marks, because even the ones that look like people don't all seem to be people. But she has to work at this onsen for spirits. Shenanigans ensue, and eventually she gets home. She gets her parents back and she gets to go home. And the boy she helped save turned out to be the spirit of a river that no longer exists anymore because it's been filled in. Yeah, so like it's a lot of talking animals and weird hybrid creatures. Like, why was there a bird with the old granny's face? I don't know. Definitely some anti-Semitic tropes in there. Like I said, the old granny. Those were some choices made with the bad one. Character design down to character traits. Just wow, really. Besides that, though, yes, I was confused most of the time, but I was relatively enjoying myself, and I've had a pretty miserable evening slash time recently. Lots of autistic meltdowns slash nearly autistic meltdowns. Lots of fun. I actually felt very comforted by this film slash the main character because she often just kind of fell to the floor crying at the start anyway after her parents were turned into pigs, and I just kind of felt, yeah, same, me too. I feel like that too. I do enjoy the art style, so that is a good thing. I've repeatedly said on this channel I'm really picky about animation and like graphic novel art style. Like, sorry, if you draw people ugly, I'm not reading it. If you draw people ugly, I'm not watching it. You know? So yeah, I don't know when I'll watch another one. I actually might watch one in a couple of days and ask my friend for their follow-up recommendation. Because I just mentioned it, and because the first one that came up on Netflix, because that's where I'm currently watching them. First one that came up on Netflix was, I can't remember actually. What one was it? Oh, hello. So I guess I'll probably end up watching Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, My Neighbour Totoro. Totoro? Ponyo. Why does Ponyo ring a bell? So yeah, definitely those, I feel like, just because I recognize them all. I think the one that had popped up originally was Princess Mononoke, which apparently is like really intense, so we'll see. But either way, I'll probably watch one of those maybe in a couple of days when I had some spare time. I'm not sure what's going on here. I've been sat up for a while trying to sort out my collaging materials because I need to get rid of some of them, honestly. And also I have been needing to reorganize them a bit because I always have like too many letters that are too big to use for collaging art pieces. Let's see. I'm gonna put some more of my face cream on over here. So yeah, I just needed to sort out what's in my little boxes that I use for when I make work, but also some reorganizing of some of the materials that I'm like going to be trying to sell. So yeah, I've just watched Kiki's Delivery Service. Iconic cat who's a sarcastic, moody bitch. We always love a Salem-esque cat, for one. Kiki never buys new clothes. She is permanently in that like baggy bag dress. For a good chunk of that film, nothing happened, which is totally fine. Sometimes you don't need anything to happen. Sometimes you just need some nice vibes. And that's pretty much what it was for the like majority of the film. Like nothing happened, it was just nice vibes. The synopsis that came up on Netflix does not seem correct because it was talking about, oh, it's hard to make friends, and it's like, she did not find it hard to make friends literally at all. What are you fucking talking about? But basically she is 13, and something to do with being 13 and a young witch, you have to leave your home for some reason to go train alone for a year. Why? No idea. Apparently this is just a thing in the witch community. But like, she immediately runs into 1,000 issues because she's a minor without any parents around, which makes sense. So yeah, that is a good chunk of that film. It's just like her struggling to find somewhere to live. She gets in trouble with the police, a cab. Some kid helps her escape the cops, but then she's like, fuck you, bitch. Like, I don't know why she's so angry at this kid who just helped her escape the police, but sure, whatever. Whatever you like, girly. Part of me is like, yeah, fair enough. He was kind of annoying because he's like obsessed with flying and she's a witch with a fucking broomstick. But maybe just tell him to stop fucking asking for a literal ride rather than just being kind of mean to him for no reason. This is me saying this though, because like I'm also mean for no reason. I don't mean to be necessarily, but you know, it is what it is. Life is lifing. Autism is autisming. But like, she makes friends with everybody. There are these really funny old biddies, but they like are really, they're really ominous when you first meet them. You're sort of like, are these old ladies about to bake Kiki into a pie? Possibly. I'm actually also just getting warm now. You're gonna see my arms because I'm just wearing a vest. There was just kind of a lot of that for a while. There's a lot of child labour. There's a lot of free and low paid child labour. When she tells some lady, like, oh yeah, I can deliver that for you, and the lady's like, how much? And she's like, oh, I didn't think about that. She's like, let's pay you not enough money because you clearly don't understand it, money. I don't know though, obviously, because they don't actually tell you how much money anyone is paying for anything. So I don't know if she understands money or if she doesn't and is getting scammed the whole time. But she lives with this nice pregnant lady because she helped her give a new mum back her, I don't know what the fuck, her kid's dummy. And yeah, the whole time that's the specky kid is trying to invite her places and she's like, lol, fuck no, or doesn't show up. He invited her to a party, which I think was the party that she ended up delivering a package to, and it just had some manky spoiled brat at the address. And then she starts losing the ability to understand her cat, and then she can't fly. Why? Not really sure. Not really sure what was going on. I feel like that's what my takeaway is going to be from all of these films. It's just me being like, I don't really know what was happening. Nobody really explained what was going on. I was not following, you know, so... But it seemed less creepy and terrifying than Spirited Away. I will say that much. Because Spirited Away, yeah, there was like this threat of this kid never getting her parents back and being a slave to the spirits for the rest of forever. Whereas this one was just, I have to go be a witch on my own for a year or some shit. Bye, mum and dad. Love you. I'm off to go learn me magic. Innit? I've been sat here for so long and I feel like I haven't gone anywhere. Okay, I'm just gonna go and put on something else to watch or listen to, really, whilst I carry on doing this, because I need to be able to clear this off by the time it's bedtime. Help. I'll try to talk a bit more in depth in the morning, maybe when I'm doing my skincare, but it's very late. I've had a very long day at Markton that did not go well. But the two things on my mind, one of them I've already forgotten. The first one is, I am the main character. I am the girl who was turned into an old lady. That's me. That's me. Oh, and now I remember the other thing, very much specifically related to that, to her. There's a point, it ends up being a dream. There's a point when she's turned back into her young self and she's looking for Howl, and she's walking around with a little candle to see in the dark. And one, more proof that I am that character, because that was literally me a few weeks ago when I'm filming this, because I'm filming this in fucking November, very end of November. But also, you need to like hold your hand in front of that fucking candle. Trust me. If you walked at the speed that she was walking, the candle would have gone out. Also, third thought, I love that there was a dog this time. We've had a lot of cats and things I've been watching recently, and whilst I actually really love them, like the cat in Kiki's Delivery Service and K-pop Demon Hunters, unrelated to this video topic, I just love a dog. I am in real life, I am a dog person. I do like people's cats, but dogs have my heart. I'm not sorry. I was gonna say I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm not. So yeah, more thoughts hopefully in the morning, because I need to like tidy up, brush my teeth, take my pills, go to bed. I forgot to talk about the Studio Ghibli film. I've chosen the wrong time to talk about it, clearly. Bish bash bosh. That's at least a little bit closer. So, yeah. Howl's Moving Castle. I didn't even try. Didn't even try to read and understand the plot. I decided to just wing it. All I knew was Howl had a moving castle. Took me most of the film to realise that the voice actor for the little flame man is the voice actor for Timon in The Lion King. And if it's not, then I'm deeply upset about that. I love the little scarecrow man. I preferred him as a scarecrow. Glad he didn't have to stay a scarecrow. The little fireman ended up being a little twink fairy thing. Slay. The Wicked Witch of the Waste. I feel like I'm probably wrong, or I might not be, but I feel like there's a lot of conversation at the moment about Wicked, for example, the Wicked films that came from the book Wicked, which was a fan fiction of Wizard of Oz, which was a book which was a critical analysis of economics, I think. I feel like this is just another one of those where it's just another like interpretation of the Wizard of Oz / fan fiction of the Wizard of Oz. How? I don't know. Mostly based off of Wicked Witch of the Waste and how she melted when he threw water at her. I can't remember the main character's name, but you know, she was kind of like the main plot device. She was the reason why things happened. The only difference was that one of her troubled friends, I mean, is Howl kind of the Tin Man, but also the Wizard of Oz? Because he doesn't have a heart, because that's the little fireman, but also he has magic. Yeah, you know, they fall in love at the end. And even though the Scarecrow is also in love with her, he ended up being a prince. I can't even remember why he had been magicked into a scarecrow. The dog is Toto, obviously. Who's the cowardly lion though? Or is that the little fireman? I don't know. But yeah, like I'm now three Ghibli movies in, and I understand why people like these. For the most part, the art style is pleasing. I say for the most part because some of it is disgusting and terrifying, like the Wicked Witch of the Waste. And yeah, I mean, I think, I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been, it was definitely one of my friends, but someone said as well that that some of the Ghibli films remind them of kind of classic Disney from like when I was younger, you know, like the original sort of Cinderella, Ariel, Snow White, those sorts of things. The art style has a similar vibe. A lot of the stories also choose to be based like back in time a little bit. Obviously some of them are clearly set in like early 2000s-ish, which I'm probably assuming is when they sort of came out. But then also they have this grim tales vibe about them, but in the way that, yeah, the original Disney sort of films have that element of grim fairy tales still about them, where it is kind of, it's not as extreme, because I know the grim fairy tales are a lot grimmer than I even know, because I've not actually read them. I know they're a lot more harsh and gross and scary than, you know, the versions of them that came out between roughly 1950 and 2011. But like, you know, Lion King, Bambi, you know, those are quite intense Disney films with really awful things that happen to nice little animals. But that is kind of how we teach children things, is through storytelling a lot of the time, as well as through their experiences. But obviously there are going to be some things that you're not going to want them to experience, or they need to kind of have some preparation for before it happens, you know, like in both of those films. Death, whether it's family death or pet death, you know, things like that. And I feel like it's kind of a similar thing in the Ghibli films. Obviously the fear is not witches but the witches represent something. Duh. So like, yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm actually would be open to the idea of buying DVDs of the ones I liked. I don't know necessarily if these are things that I would watch repeatedly. I do think Howl's Moving Castle is quite high up on that list because I just relate to this girl who's turned into an old lady. Minus the fact I ain't doing your fucking cleaning, bitch, but you know, relatable content. But yeah, like I feel like they are appropriate films for very broad age ranges, and you know, whether I have kids or whether I have friends around who have kids, it would at least be something that could be put on and everyone could kind of enjoy, and everyone would know these are appropriate viewings for kids. So yeah, I don't know, I think I'm definitely going to carry on watching ones I've not seen before. I don't know what's next. I won't lie, I didn't really get the plot line with the... I don't even know who she was. She wasn't the queen, right? But it looked like she was a queen. But she was Howl's, like, magical mentor when he was young. Didn't really get that. Didn't really get what the fuck the blimps were all about. I feel like there's always so much going on in Ghibli films that one watch isn't enough to understand all of the things that were happening. Which I mean is a good thing. That makes for really good rewatchability. Yes, that's been my thoughts for Howl's Moving Castle. Yeah, so I'm on my little Christmas break from making, well, not from making videos, but from like posting and SEOing and promoting, you know, all of the like not fun part. All of the not fun part of making videos. That hurt my throat. Until I decided to do this video, I had never seen a single Studio Ghibli film, like ever. Obviously I'd seen clips or GIFs and stuff like that, but I've never watched anything Studio Ghibli, which I feel like is not super common generally, but also particularly seeing as I was an anime nerd as a child, kind of teenager. I say that as in I was into some anime. So it's odd that I just didn't get into Studio Ghibli. None of my family, I don't think, have ever watched these either. But also especially for somebody who is an adult media nerd. So yeah, it is 4 p.m. I think I might get through a Ghibli film before my mum gets home. I don't have a lot on my to-do list today because, yeah, I was supposed to have a meeting, but because of my appointment today overrunning because I had like a fucking half-hour wait, I was late to my meeting, so it got cancelled and moved. Oh, actually, this one's only an hour and a half. Most of the other films I've watched that are Ghibli films are 2 hours long. So I should definitely get this done in that time. Yeah, I guess that's it. So I've decided to put on my neighbour Totoro. I know. Does anybody else say words in their brain but can't say them that way out loud, or when you try to, it just doesn't really match up? You get me? Because saying my neighbour Totoro don't sound right. It don't. I think it's My Neighbour Totoro. 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 Totoro? This is what I mean. I can't say it out loud. Anyway, that's what I'm watching. Okay, hi. It's the next day. If I sound weird, like croaky, can't breathe very well, I don't know if I'm... This is a bit wonky, hold on. I don't know if I'm sick or if it's my allergy meds. That's the gist. I do feel like breathless, that's not fun. So, Studio Ghibli, am I right? I've watched another Studio Ghibli film. Great, which one was it? My Neighbour Totoro. I think this one was probably one of the like nicer ones overall. It was definitely sad and like scary in places, but more in like a real world way rather than a I've been abandoned and a bunch of creepy, terrifying spirits are after me vibes, or all of that but creepy witches are after me, you know? This one was a lot more... Totoro is kind of a comfort, imaginary friends / coping mechanism, I guess, because yeah, a lot of the plot mainly is around a lot of the plots seem to be about people who have just moved. Like I think 3 of the 4 I've seen so far is like, we've just moved. And this was, yeah, so this was another one of those. They've just moved. Not, I can't remember if there was actually a reason why they moved. I'm assuming it's because, I mean, I think it seems like it's their like summer vacation house, but they've decided to like move there permanently. I think because that's where like the mum's hospital is closest to, because the mum is sick. I don't think we know what she's sick with. I assume cancer, because that usually tends to be the go-to. Plot device sickness, you know? A lot of it is based around, yeah, the kids never get to see their mum because she's ill. They don't even seem to be able to visit her, which seems strange. The dad is basically just me if you drew me in Studio Ghibli style. It all kind of starts with the youngest of the 2 kids who goes and discovers Totoro, along with Totoro's other spirit friends, if we're believing in the spirits being spirits and not just kids' imagination and stuff. It's also quite nice to see young girls with short hair, and it kind of being discussed a little bit as well in the films. Satsuki, I think her name was, the older of the 2 kids, has very short hair. And yeah, that's brought up at one point, I think when they visited the mum. But yeah, they don't seem to be able / allowed to visit the mum very often. And she at least goes to school, whereas her younger sibling is not old enough to go to school yet and is mainly kind of just being looked after by the neighbour granny. That's what she's called. She's called Granny. And I love as well, there's like, I feel like this is maybe one of the very few times where there was like a more obvious like crush going on among characters. I don't know what the kid's name is, but the next door neighbour boy with like a shaved haircut seems to like clearly have like a little crush on Satsuki, and I don't think she notices. But what I love most about some of their interactions is there's a point where Satsuki and her little sister get into kind of like an argument, because obviously they're both really upset by the news that they get that they were supposed to have their mum come home for like a couple of days because she was well enough. But last minute it has to be cancelled because the mum has taken a turn and is not doing as well as she was. So of course, both of the main kids, they don't really understand. They can't really get it. And even if you do understand, it still feels really shitty when something like that happens. And the little sister is like, it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair. And I think whilst the older sister understands it's not fair and understands why it's happening, she's obviously still upset, but she can understand it, and she's frustrated by her younger sister not being able to understand. So that's when they get into an argument with their next door neighbour boyfriend. Satsuki storms off, and you kind of see him for a second not really entirely sure what he's going to do or who he's gonna like follow, but he sort of lingers behind with the little sister for a while, and tries to make her feel better and tells her to like, come on, let's go home. And then she just starts scream crying, which is very funny. But like, I just really enjoyed that little moment because you could see that he was kind of torn between like, oh, that's the girl that I have like a crush on and she's my friend, I want to go follow her, comfort her, make her feel better, but this is her younger sibling who is so young and really doesn't understand this and is obviously really distressed, and this whole situation just really sucks on this family, and he chooses to prioritize the younger sister because she is like, she's still a baby pretty much, you know, like, yeah, she can walk around and talk, but like I said, she doesn't go to school, there's nobody else around her age, and I think as well she just wants to spend time with her sister and can't really understand why her sister is so frustrated. And then they both start kind of bonding, or have been bonding, over this imaginary slash spirit called Totoro, and they both get to go on adventures with this spirit, whatever he is exactly, together. So it's kind of a mixture of escapism from their real life thing, but also a coping mechanism, because a lot of their adventures they have with him are, you know, the things that make them feel better. Travelling to the hospital, for example, being able to see their mum through the window whilst their dad's visiting, leaving her some corn, because that's something that they discuss with the granny. It's like, oh, you make so much, you grow so many delicious healthy vegetables, we definitely need to feed our mum these things to help her get big and strong, and get better and come home. So they get to leave a corn on the cob. I just find a lot of these like imaginary creatures slash spirit creatures are quite disjointed in how they're created, that they outwardly look quite cute a lot of the time, but like either have really weird and gross actions or really terrifying voices. Or really creepy backstories. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that part, I'm not gonna lie, but I do really like that this film was obviously targeted towards kids with a sick parent, and this is why kids media has to involve a lot of real life things. This is where kids first learn to deal with stuff and learn about other people's experiences. So I do feel like the dad just wasn't around very much. Like, he just was never there. He was like home like once in a blue moon. It's like, my guy, I know your wife's in hospital, but you've got fucking kids at home. And I think from the credits it's implied that the mum gets better, comes home, and they have another baby, and everything's fine and happy and everyone enjoys their life. So yeah, I guess that's another one I've watched now. I think this one overall was a bit sweeter. Of course sad, but I feel like it was a lot more rooted in real world sadness and real world troubles and emotions, rather than, you know, Howl's Moving Castle is about a fucking wizard in a castle in like a place where there's a few witches around. As well with Kiki's Delivery Service, it's about a place that witches exist and move out at 13 or whatever the fuck that was ridiculous. And Spirited Away was basically an entire town full of spirits, abducted humans. So yeah, this one was a lot more rooted in real world things, and it was shorter. It was quite nice that it was only an hour and a half rather than 2 hours. But yeah, I feel like again a lot of it was just kind of vibes. just vibing. Things were just happening, and that's okay. Overall, thumbs up. Hello. It's been a minute since I did anything for this video. But I'm back on my Studio Ghibli shit. Apparently there are 22 Studio Ghibli films. So if there's any that aren't the most super popular ones that I've watched in this video that you think that I should check out after this, maybe do a video of, let me know. But I am moving on to Ponyo because I recognise the name, and then I'm going to leave the final one to be Princess Mononoke. Yeah, I thought I'd watch this one now whilst I'm trying to have a bit of a rest. I have got, like, low-grade migraine symptoms, like headache symptoms all over the place right now. And I'm just tired, so I'm going to pause the rest of the work that I've been doing today. I've done most of my to-do list, so I feel like I feel happy enough to sit and watch Ponyo for an hour and 40 minutes. Apparently, Ponyo is about a 5-year-old boy who develops a relationship with Ponyo, a young goldfish princess who longs to become a human after falling in love with him. So, I guess that's me for today. Maybe this is the first one where I actually know what's happening. Let's see if that persists through me actually watching it. I think Betty White voices one of the old biddies in the English dub. Like, everyone keeps telling me the English dubs are terrible, and, like, sure, they're not the same, but I also don't always have brain cells to watch a show that I need to read. So, like, I've been watching Astrid Murder in Paris a bit more again, the French one, and it doesn't have an English dub because it's not an animation. They don't tend to English dub a lot of, like, shows or films unless they're, like, massive. You know, like Squid Game, for example, or Alice in Borderland. I feel like those got big enough to be dubbed. So I love that. I love when there's, like, recognisable to, like, I guess to Western audiences. Because, yeah, I can't remember if I was correct or not, but I think the little fire guy was voiced by Timon's voice actor from The Lion King. Or, like, that's where I most heavily recognise the voice. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Betty White. Slay Betty, R.I.P. bitch. Okay, so Ponyo. Again, another weird one. Even though I actually knew the gist of what was going on as I went in, it was still very surprising. Wasn't expecting the entire land to flood with ocean water. A lot of the characters acknowledge the fact that it seemed to be a bit weird to expect a 5-year-old to fall in love and take that responsibility. Because, yeah, if he wasn't in love with her, she would turn back into sea foam. And if he did, then she gets to be a human girl forever, like, and grow up with him, okay? I hated the in-between morphing with Ponyo. I hate those horrible little twig hands and feet. I hate them. And also, like, the creepy face. Felt kind of bad for her dad, because it's like, he's just trying to do his job, i.e. look after the balance of the ocean and the world and shit, because what Ponyo did basically meant that the moon moved. Why did Sasuke's mum, like, not freak out speaking to the goddess of the ocean. I don't know. Like, everyone was just like, oh yeah, oh, you used to be a fish. Fair, makes sense. Like, what do you mean? So yeah, I don't know. Like, it's another weird Ghibli film. I did expect maybe more of the fish might have been dangerous, but that was not a part of this at all. I love his mum's haircut, but yeah, I don't know. I do love Sasuke as well. He was a very cute little, like, boy cartoon character. I don't know if it's because I've just woken up the next day that I don't have anything to say, or whether there's just not a lot to say, so. Okay, we are watching the final Studio Ghibli film of this video. So I'm just gonna watch this now that I've kind of got like a free afternoon. I'm tired. I'm gonna eat my late lunch / probably gonna be my dinner. Oh no, Princess Mononoke? Yeah. Did I just say that? I don't fucking know. I don't know, man. Yeah, my brain does not work. So yeah, I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna watch this, and I'm gonna let you know how I feel. Why is there an advert now? The forest spirit just made the two gods drop fucking dead. Why is it an advert right now? Oh wait. God Wolf is alive. Oh, it's just her head. This kid is very charitable. Still trying to help this fucking lady who just shot the head off of the forest spirit. I'm not sure I'd give her another benefit of the doubt. I don't know. So it's been a few days since I watched the film. Because Ferry was really busy. I think, yeah, I just ended up accidentally having a spare afternoon because something came up for the people I had plans with. So I was like, okay, I shall watch the final Ghibli film that I had on my list for this video. What was it? It wasn't Spirited Away, like I said in my clip that I edited out. What was it? Princess Mononoke. Why is it called that? I don't know. Is that her name? I don't think so. I thought it was the name of like the goddess wolf's human child. I don't think it is. Anyway, I I don't know. In some ways, I thought it was gonna be more sad and like more, I don't know, maybe violent than it was. It was definitely violent. I would maybe put it on comparison with The Lion King. There was definitely like a lot of animal corpses at points, which was a lot. Not fun in those aspects. And as you would, as you'll see in the clip, I did cry at one point when the forest spirit, like, I don't know how to, like, how do you make passing away an adjective or whatever it is, like a verb of like a doing thing to somebody else? A deadening. The deadening of. So yeah, I cried at the bit where, yeah, the forest spirit passes over the two gods, the wolf god and the pig hog god. I found it very interesting. I don't know if there was like some kind of meaning to this, like some purposeful meaning to the fact that the pigs, like the pig god and his pigs, were like an old hog breed that hadn't been seen for hundreds of years, was like a similar thing to the boy we were following. Him and his people were also a type of people that were considered like a people that hadn't been seen for hundreds of years, so like were considered um dead or something. I can't think what the right what they said exactly, but they have been considered extinct slash considered non-existent or dead for hundreds of years. Like, I wonder what that like connection was, what that reference was to, why that was, what the cause of that was, and why they specifically were brought to this. I think if I had like 5 brain cells spare today and I'd watched the film a few times, I could definitely sit and analyze that for like an essay as like 2 parallels and what that means. And because as like a basic analysis from watching the film once, I would say that clearly from what we saw of I can't remember what the boy's name is, sorry, but like that boy's people were clearly like living happily and peacefully and thriving, and he was a prince, right? Like they were all like living very chill lives, undisturbed by present day people slash modern life, and modern invention, etc., etc. And they were living in harmony with the environment. Probably could have been considered indigenous people. And yeah, I guess like the hogs were living happily, thriving by themselves, and the only I think the only reason why that hog was cursed was because of that iron, right? From the people. Like that was something that I was getting lost. I didn't really quite follow that the iron and the curse bit. That was like something that I was not following. Something to do with the iron was cursing people. I don't know. It was the modern people who were infecting these groups with what you could basically just consider a magical version of a virus, right? Metaphors for things that have happened in real life, in real history. Because yeah, they did use words like infectious. That they had to kill the boar. They couldn't eat the boar. It all just sort of like decomposed right there and there. And they were trying to get to the powerful god boar, to get to the spirit, the forest spirit. They had to evict the prince of the people to protect the rest of the people within the village. Yeah, very good. I like the symbolism. I feel like there was, I don't know, I feel like the depth of the symbolism was a bit, it was a bit deeper, I guess, than some of the other films. I definitely think it was like a film again that was appropriate for much younger audiences. So lots of young kids could definitely watch it. They just wouldn't understand some of that kind of symbolism. I think they would still understand, like people doing these things are bad, like what the lady was doing. They cut down loads of trees to then put up Iron Village, or what they've Iron Town, was that it? And the fact that they kept chopping down trees purposefully to slowly kill like the gods and irons and the forest spirit, and then the hunting of those spirits and stuff. I think young kids can appreciate those points. Obviously, the burning of stuff to distract and cover smells was bad, polluting the air, etc. Bad. But older kids and adults could probably maybe not, but like I feel like yeah, older people could understand those deeper contexts more to do with like colonization and indigenous people and extinction, etc. Again, a very pretty film. I also do really like the grey areas with some of the people too, because yes, the lady took in some of those disabled people and was the only person to look after those people. Sure, good thing. And sure, a lot of those people probably didn't know or understand a lot of that other context because they, have always grown up in like some kind of industrial town, probably didn't have any or a great education. Like the women said at one point, if we didn't work here, we would end up having to be in brothels, etc., not treated well, not allowed to eat certain stuff, blah blah blah, whereas here we can eat what we like. There's a certain element of empowerment living there, and protection living there. I think there's definitely, particularly if you look at it from, I know obviously this is not a white film, but like if you wanted to, you could look at it in a way from like a white feminist kind of view in a way. You could definitely pull some parallels at least. And yeah, how these people were repeatedly tricked by other people, including that woman. She was tricked numerous times by other people, but she also tricked her people in Irontown multiple times, and she was not that bothered about, XYZ, and she did not believe the little prince, even though he was like, well, why would I be trying to trick you? Like, what have I got to like gain from that? Like, I don't give a fuck about you guys. Well, he clearly cares about them as people because he cares about people and human life. And like he came to care about them when he was there for a short amount of time. But it's like, I have nothing to gain from like tricking you. Very girl boss feminism, I feel like. And then as well, like the moment of feeling so like with the boar god, because he's blind. He was so sure the forest spirit was bringing / brought his pigs back from the dead, but like the wolf goddess's daughter, human daughter, was like, no, it's humans wearing them as a coat to disguise their smell. My guy, like, don't fall for it. But he was just so like, for the whole time they were all just so angry about it that were not they were so set on revenge. They didn't really think twice or think about, multiple options. Like, I don't necessarily think it was a, a bad idea or wrong to fight back or attack the humans. Like, I'm not against armed resistance. But when all the signs were there that it was a setup, they were still just going ahead with that and only that. It just seems a bit silly. It's almost, I wonder if the pig was meant to be like the literal embodiment of like blind rage, maybe. I don't know. But then also maybe in the moment I was then talking about blind faith. I don't know. Curiosity. Curious. I don't know if these are like phrases in Japanese, maybe. But they are in English. So like that would make sense to me. Like he was so sure that they were being brought back to life, and he was like, yes, come this way, because like the whole point is that they were following him or them to be led to the forest spirit so they could behead the spirit, so that the like emperor or the prince or Prince Emperor or some shit. I don't know. Some royal dude could live forever or something. I like something like that. So yeah, he was just like so sure that that was happening. He was like, "Come this way. This is where the pool of it." That was something else I was getting confused with. Was the water healing, or I didn't really follow how all of that really worked. Because at one point they were like, "Oh, the spirit decides whether you live or die," or so like it's not necessarily like you'll definitely live and you'll be fine. He decides that. It's not up to anybody else, bitch. But everyone seemed to go to the water for healing. So I might have missed maybe a moment where they said that the like you could heal in the water. I did really like the little like young humans thing they had going on. They just didn't have a lot of interaction directly, it seemed. I kind of wish there was more, and I'm sad there wasn't much. Ugh, I was also so devastated when one of the army people shot the guy's little elk's leg, and he was still like hobbling after the prince, even though he was like, "Stay here, stop coming after, stay safe." He's like, "No, bitch, I'm coming with you. I'm not fucking leaving you." And he was just like hobbling along. I'm like, but he was fine. It was all right. He went and got in the pool. You know, it's all right, or something like that. I don't know. You know, I got lost. It's been a few days. What's happened? I loved him and his little elk. His elk was so cute. And also, in a lot of ways, I found the irony of the iron curse from the humans, that actually they, that when they cursed people, or, you know, not just people, but like when they cursed anything, they were often like, they just became better at attacking humans that were trying to destroy their environment, question mark. Because like the prince just became better at killing people who were trying to stop him from trying to, you know, prevent all of this death and all of this destruction. The pig at the very beginning went after people, the wrong people, sure, but went after people initially. I think maybe mistaken identity sort of case, but went after people. But you know, I just thought that was really interesting that they all just got like really good at attacking or devouring human beings. Just, you know, just found that, yeah, like I said, ironic of the iron curse. And then again, also the irony of losing all of the iron that they were extracting from the earth because they were just like fucking everything up. You know, what are you working so hard for when all you've done is lose it all? What was the point? What was the point? Nothing. I feel like that one definitely had more that I could sink my teeth into. But the others, like I said, mostly vibes. um I think some of them probably had more to sink my teeth into, but there was just so much going on all the time. I was just like, what the fuck? This one was like more cohesive. This one just kind of like had like a relatively understandable story arc and didn't just have like a bunch of shit just going on. You know, like there wasn't just, I mean, to be fair, I can't remember what they're called now, but they're those like horrible little like, I don't know, forest sprite things. I hated them. I'm not gonna lie. I hated those little forest sprite things. The little faces. I hated them. They can stay. They can stay. They can stay there. They can stay where they belong. In the forest. They can stay in Princess Mononoke. they were terrifying. I understand why the men were screaming about them. They were terrifying. I'm still sad the puppy died. What an icon. But yeah, I did enjoy that one quite a lot. But yeah, that was me watching 6 Studio Ghibli films. Thank you so much for coming with me on this ride. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, let me know if you want me to do like a follow-up. I'll do like a suggestions version. Let me know what Studio Ghibli films you think I should be watching or should check out. Sorry, my glasses were a lot further away than I thought they were. Hello? Hello, where are my glasses? I'm not just flipping you off. I was trying to find my glasses. Yeah, let me know what. Oh, Jesus Christ. I've tried reading what I'm supposed to expect, and they don't help. They don't help. Because, yeah, I remember reading the Ponyo one, and I was like, right, so this girl falls in love with this boy. That was like a sliver of what to expect from that plot. The world flooded. That was kind of the majority of the plot. The world flooded. And then the moon moved. The moon moved and the world flooded. You know? Anyway, that was my video for this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go check out another video of mine. And I will see you in a video next week. Bye.